What? How's it going, man? What is this garbage? Hello there, and welcome back to the channel. It's what, 2 weeks now since the last episode, the finale of Rings of Power aired, and the series might have come to an end, but the top quality journalism certainly hasn't. Do you guys remember when journalism used to be good? No, me neither. So we're starting with this little nugget, this little piece of fine journalism here. The Rings of Power creators reveal how Sauron hid in plain sight. Ah, yes. None of us had any clue just who Sauron was. What, 99% of the community had figured out who he was before the first episode even aired. He hid in plain sight, apparently. We were just too stupid to notice it. And if we scroll down, who is Sauron? Where is Sauron? Is that Sauron? Those were all the prevailing questions throughout the Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. Do you remember asking yourself that? Do you remember sitting there thinking, God, who's it going to be? Is it Durin? No, it can't be Durin. He's a dwarf. Elrond? No, he's too feminine. Who could it possibly be? Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, maybe. And in the final episode, the guessing game was finally put to rest. Oh, thank God for the last episode. We would have never have had any idea who Halbrand was. Halbrand, the castaway who saved Galadriel and presented himself as the pauper descended from kings, was really the fair form of the tyrannical sorcerer himself. Who would have thought? Not only did he rescue her, this is an important point, by the way, not only did he rescue her, but also credits her in the finale with saving him, saying her belief in his power sustained him. So, if Galadriel had stayed on the boat and just shitted off to Valinor, shipped. Pardon me, Freudian slip there. Maybe the world of Middle-earth might have been a better place. Maybe Sauron wouldn't have found the confidence within himself. He needed Galadriel to come along and say, Queen, you can slay. And slay he did. It turns out, yes, you can blame the downfall in the Third Age on Galadriel. Purely all of the evil within Middle-earth post, beginning of the Second Age, you can officially blame on Galadriel because she single-handedly gave Sauron the inspiration he needed to once again Yas Queen slay. Of course, this was when the Elven Warrior... Yes, of course, the Elven Warrior. It's how we've always known Galadriel. Thought he was a deposed king, not evil incarnate. Yeah, this was back when she was too stupid to realise just who he was. I mean, to be fair to the showrunners and writers, there was never any evidence in the lore to suggest that she had any suspicions of who Anatar, aka the Lord of Gifts, aka Sauron, was. There was no evidence of that whatsoever, so I mean, that's fine. The showrunners, J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay, spoke to Vanity Fair to walk through a season's worth of clues that reveal Halbrand was never actually hiding who he was. Well, to be honest, he wasn't really, was he? He, at many points, heavily indicated to Galadriel exactly who he was, and Galadriel was like, yeah, can you shut up, please? Like, I just need to look like a good person by saving you. So if you could, you can just shut up. I don't care who you are. Unfortunately, her hubris was what got in her way. Virtually everything he said and did had a dual meaning that hinted at his actual identity. No, it didn't. He was just very literal. He went around basically telling people who he was. Everyone knew who he was. Like I said, everyone figured it out before the first episode even aired. He walked around telling all the other characters, "Hi, I'm Sauron, by the way. Who are you?" And they were like, "Oh, that's fine. This guy can't possibly be Sauron." The reveal was hard, not only for Galadriel, but for audiences. Yeah, I won't lie. There was a part of me that thought I was so unbelievably confident that Halbrand was Sauron, the stranger is Gandalf. We knew what was going to happen the whole time. But I got to a point where I was so overly confident. You know when you're too confident about something and you start to question yourself because of how confident you are? You're like, oh, hang on. What if I've got this all wrong? I'm not going to lie. Before the last episode aired, I thought, what if they really do actually flip our expectations and things really aren't as they seem, and they have just been leading this very obvious breadcrumb trail that would lead, that would lead the Tolkien fans, or the people who know a lot about the lore, at least, down these trails, leading them to believe they know what's going on, when actually it was their expectations that were being subverted. But no, of course not. By the what was most hard about watching the last episode was realizing that we were right the whole time, and it didn't take a second's worth of thought. It was just like, oh yeah, that's what it is. And it turned out that's what it was. While some viewers probably saw it coming, yes, anything that is well written, particularly when it's designed to subvert expectations, some viewers probably saw it coming. It's not. I love how they dance around, like, they look. All these journalists look like they're having such a merry time dancing around the fact that this show just wasn't very good and the writing was garbage. But no, they can't come out and say that, because in previous reviews, or back before the show released, back when channels like mine and others were trying to warn you, hey, this show isn't going to be very good. It's not going to respect the law. No care has gone into this. These people were the very people who were attacked us and said, oh, you just need to watch the show. You're a bunch of bigots. And now they've realized just what garbage it is. They now have to dance around everything they've previously said by saying things like, while some viewers probably saw it coming, the show ensured the full weight of the moment was felt through Galadriel's heartbreak after having her sense of trust shattered. That's what that was. That's what the whole last episode was about you feeling Galadriel's heartbreak. They've spent an entire season, 8+ hours, making you dislike a character who is patronizing, condescending, doesn't listen to anyone, enables the very evil that strangles Middle-earth, and now, when she's been too stupid to realize something, but you haven't, they then want you as the audience to feel sorry for that character. According to the writer and producer, Jennifer Hutchison, a TV veteran, whose credits include The Strain, Breaking Bad, and Better Call Saul, the Rings of Power staff asked themselves a very simple question. What would Sauron do? What would Sauron do? Well, so far, Sauron, aka Halbrand, has been honest, saved the life of Galadriel, I think, more than once, been very mild-mannered, not yet actually manipulated anyone. I mean, you could argue that he kind of, he did somewhat manipulate Celebrimbor towards the end, but at the end of the day, he helped Celebrimbor with what he was struggling with, so I don't know if you could class that as manipulation, really. Is that what Sauron would do? Just be a nice guy? You've turned Sauron into the good guy! In one of what is possibly one of the most binary stories of good and evil, how did you turn the big bad into the good? And how did you turn the most beloved character into the most evil, twisted, genocidal? 2 weeks it's been. This show is still torturing me. Now, I must warn you, if you are a Tolkien fan, you might be offended by some incredibly sensitive material we're about to look at. So just a pre-warning, you might want to look away. Rings of Power. Who is Galadriel in love with? Fucking what? From fellow elves to Sauron, the Lord of the Rings and the Rings of Power is filled with suitors. But you may be asking, who is Galadriel in love with? That's a good one! Oh, that's a good one! You've got to be trolling! This article is a troll. It's just trying to wind people online like me up, and so they can go, haha, look at the angry man online. Who is Galadriel in love with? I would like to remind you she's married. But yeah, oh wait, no. Because they killed her husband because... I don't know. I thought it was just a big meme. I thought the whole shipping Galadriel with Halbrand, I thought it was just like, it was just people memeing on the show. Just having a bit of a joke. But it turned out, like, as I started to look into this, it turns out, like, even the people working on set thought this was the case. Look at this here. To Clark, Galadriel's connection to Halbrand was more than just attraction. I don't think it was necessarily romantic, but whatever connection they had was enormous. Whether it was power, friendship, whether it was romance, it was just completely beyond what they'd felt before. Bear in mind, she's been married. So whatever it was, she believes it was stronger than than the bond she had with Celeborn. What is this garbage? Galadriel is one of the most beloved Lord of the Rings characters. Was. Period. Was. And please forgive me for reading this out loud, Tolkien fans. But thanks to Amazon's hit fantasy series Rings of Power, Galadriel's love life has become a pretty big question mark, even for all of us Middle-earth experts. JD Payne and Patrick McKay went away, and they came back with a romantic comedy. An 8-part, 8-hour romantic comedy. Galadriel's love life has become a pretty big question mark. I've got a great big question mark, but it's not to do with Galadriel's romantic interest. Where is her goddamn husband? In the Rings of Power, we saw a new semi-romantic dynamic. We also learned that Galadriel believed her husband was dead, making her effectively a single lady in her mind. This was my epiphany, this show was. I realised, no wait, maybe to a certain degree, we do need to bring back gatekeeping. Again, just another quick example of how they like to dance around the just the truth of the situation. Rings of Power writer explains why the show sidesteps Tolkien's lore. No, you mean either didn't pay attention to, don't care about, or completely ignored. You don't mean sidestep. You're just polishing a turd. So when Jennifer Hutchinson, writer/producer for Rings of Power, was asked about the forging of the 3 elven rings at the end of the first season, she said, "So we wanted to tie those rings into that story. It was about narrowing our focus down on them and having those rings cap off the season." This is my favourite bit here. "Because we had to make rings. Full stop. Why did we make them? Oh, because we had to. We wanted to make a romantic comedy. Yeah, they were talking about this, Lord of the Rings or whatever, about how rings are really important. So, I mean, yeah, we just had to. It felt like the climax of that arc as opposed to trying to manage the timeline in a different way." You don't by any chance mean the way it was written, do you? you don't by any chance mean, how it was in the lore, the source material. No? You just didn't fancy doing it that way. Either way, Clark doesn't mind the shipping. "I'm a fan of the character myself. I get it," she says with a laugh. "I feel honoured that me and Charlie managed to create that." Thank you. Thank you for your art. There we go. Like I say, what is it? 2 weeks now since the season finale, and it's still torturing me to this day, and will continue to torture anyone who has any modicum of respect for Tolkien. But there we go. Thank you very much for watching this video. Like and subscribe, and stick around. Next video will be coming out very soon, and hopefully you can join me then. And as always, a big shout out to my top tier members: Pozabon, Flunky, and Brennus. Giga Chads. Okay, that's hurting my arms. Tier 2 members: Steve the Goat, Dr. Melsky, Saeed, MG Virgil, Kuno Sacco, and Mark Maidens. I salute you, my fine friends. Thank you very much. Don't ever hesitate to give me a message on Patreon or YouTube if you are a member. I always like hearing from you. And of course, a big thank you to the Tier 1 patrons and the channel members. I'll say it and I'll say it again. You make my life a lot easier in terms of video making these days. So thank you very much. Thank you. Another day, another video. I hope you enjoy your weekend. I hope you have a good Halloween, by the way. Remember, don't eat candy off strangers, kids. It's weird, and it might have rohypnol in it. But there we go. I guess we've gone through enough scary material for one Halloween weekend. Hopefully you can join me for my next video. But until then, take care of yourselves, guys, and I'll see you real soon.